Hi guys, my name is Simon Priestley Adeola and I am your relationship therapist, business coach and pastor. So let's take it the other way. I'm a pastor first, relationship therapist and then a business coach. And this is my journey so far in 40 years of being alive and existing in this world. So I'm going to be telling you a couple of things as my documentary to share my story so far.
Thank you for your love. Shili da baladi kadanete. Ale 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 elebetalo. Divi 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 divi. Your love is overwhelming me, oh. Your goodness just they carry me go. Anywhere I go, anywhere I turn, I see your faithfulness each day. This kind of love I've never seen, I've never seen.
Your love is overwhelming me, oh yeah. Your goodness just they carry me go. Anywhere I go, anywhere I turn, I see your faithfulness each day. This kind of love I never see, I never see.
Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, your kind of love I've never seen.
Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, your kind of love I've never seen.
Onyekerua, oh, oh, you see you can do, oh, your kind of love I've never seen.
Consistent lover, oh, oh, yeah. How do they change my word, oh, your kind of love I've never seen.
Your love,
Oh Lord,
is overwhelming me.
your goodness,
Your goodness, just they carry me.
anywhere I go, anywhere I go, anywhere I turn,
I see your
faithfulness each day.
This kind of love I've never seen, I've never seen.
Your love, oh,
Your love
yeah,
is overwhelming me.
overwhelming, overwhelming.
I come from a unique family background, very unique. I mean, unique in many not so right ways. Okay, so I come from a very large family. My father was a serial monogamist in the sense that he was a polygamist and also acting like a monogamist, right? We have a lot of us. I think the last time I checked, we're about over 30. Yeah, and sweet enough, I am number 15. So yes, my family is a fantastic family. My father was a retired soldier before he died, and I think I am the first pastor in my lineage. Yeah, I am the first pastor in my lineage. So yes, we're an amazing people. We have great stories to tell, and my mom happened to be the second wife, unofficially rather, first wife, second wife, and then she happened to be the third wife, and so I am the last child of a third wife. Yes. And give or take, it seemed like it's the best family in the world right now because we're starting our own country and I'm the president. Duh.
Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, your kind of love.
Okay. First off, I'd like to say this part of the story and please do well not to cry. I was born of stillbirth and miraculously, when I was about to be laid to the ground as a dead child, I got back to life. So I was told. I was not there. Okay, I was there, dead. Okay, scrap. Anyways, I was told that I was born dead, and while they attempted to bury me, I got back to life. So you see, there's a God in me, trust me. All right. I suffered a couple of things growing up. As a child, at the age of 5, I had all kinds of sicknesses. Why? Because My mom was not available to take care of me because she was sick just after she put to bed. I think they call that post-pregnancy challenges or health crisis, right? And for that reason, I had health complications that were traced to malnutrition and all the plenty medical term, right? So the next 5 years of my life was quite terrible because I was sick. And then, interesting fact here, there was this young boy like myself. We went to the same primary school, and we had this swing, this what we call janglova, right? And he had his moments. We like to jump off the swing and all that. So small swing like that. So he jumped off the swing and he miscalculated, and then he had a bruise. The next morning he was pronounced dead. And then in our school, it went viral. In our neighborhood, it went viral that I had killed a boy. That news went viral, that families started talking to their kids to avoid me. Now, they gave me that popular name, Chucky, because, Chucky was that doll that was killing people, even though it was a doll. So I felt like Chucky because I was literally called Chucky. And it was traumatizing. Only for the boy's mother to return from some part of the world to confirm that the boy had suffered from leukemia and that it had nothing to do with the swing. And I was innocent of the allegation. But guys, I had been traumatized so badly that I became isolated, withdrawn, and so bad that I didn't realize that even growing up, it affected me. I thought I was done and past that age or that phase of my life. I grew up and realized I was a withdrawn person. I literally live alone and I enjoy it. I don't like company like that because I grew up living like that, isolated. So yeah, a lot of the story around that situation is captured in my new book, which is a limited edition, by the way, called My Side of the Story. You want to grab that copy, a copy of that book, and hear the whole story. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about growing up, right? So I come from a unique religious background as well. If you know those guys that don't wear shoe and they wear white garment and then they pray in certain ways that make you feel like the Lord is angry, right? Good. So I come from that Christian background. And guess what, guys? I bagged all their money being the best Bible kid at the time. I was trained to be a Bible kid and I won all the quiz in church, going home with all the coins because they used to give 50 kobo and 1 naira those days. So I had loads of coins winning the Bible quiz, yeah? So I think, in my opinion, that God had been preparing me for what I represent today. First off, the moment I was born, I was christened what the Celestial Church calls a woli. I mean, they gave me a 4-corner garment, which represents the fact that I am a prophet. And but at some point, I didn't think it was the place I wanted to be because there was a sharp disconnect. I wasn't feeling the life that I thought God was calling me into, so I moved down to Pentecostal. So fun fact here, at the age of 13, I left the house because it was chaotic. It was a if you knew that sitcom called Fuji House of Commotion, that was my family. But my family was the Promax version of that, right? So it was toxic to be in my house. So I left. I left to nowhere, for starters. And then I met this man who used to come home to learn martial art with us, and he had a barbering salon. So I wanted to learn barbering salon. For me, it wasn't about learning the skill. It was just to get an escape from the house. So I started living with him and learning the skill. And that started my first official business journey. I started out as a barber, and I was very good, still very good. And by the way, I still cut myself. So yeah, very good at it. Childhood story. Get the rest of my childhood story in my book. Yeah, get in my book, My Side of the Story. Limited edition for only 100 people. So you want to grab that book now. Okay, I thought I was born an entertainer. I had that thought that I was born an entertainer because I was this guy that wanted to explore the theater world. I wanted to be James Bond. I wanted to be these bad guys in the movie and all that, And then at some point, I started seeing myself do music, not singing, promoting people that were singing and promoting shows. But this was okay. I think I recall now. This was how it started. I started with a theater group called the STK, an initial of our names, the three people that started it. It was my thing, and I brought two other guys. S for Simon, T for Tunde, K for Kelvin. And Kelvin was the music genius amongst us. So we branched into music from the theater thing I started. So Kevin introduced music, and that's how I started music, by the way, anyways. So yeah, I set up this huge theater body that was a rave at the moment. We had people that we trained, and most of them are Nollywood superstars, you know, and they became big. Yeah, I trained most of them. Yes, I did. And then we did a couple of events. Now, fun fact again, you're gonna laugh. We decided to go off the shores of Lagos and do something huge in Delta State. We thought it was going to be huge. In our minds, it was huge. We prepared for a huge show, and we did all the publicity and all the stunts that needed to be done. And then the deal day came, P-Square came to the same neighborhood and did a free show. And our house was a paid event. Guess what? I attended the P-Square event or my event because nobody came for my event. Crazy, right? And then we had hoped that sales of tickets would produce more money for us to come back. And guess what? I took 25 people, and mostly teenagers, to Delta State. And many of them didn't tell their parents that we're traveling. They hoped that we're just going to go there in 2 days, we're back. And we spent 2 weeks. All the threats in the world, both in the pit of hell, in heaven, lake of fire, ocean, I got threats from everywhere. You're dead, don't come back. And I chose not to go back because I knew I was dead. So what I started doing was I was selling my phone, selling things to get people back home and all of that. I got stranded, and we started going from one wedding, one burial to another just to perform and make money. And then, you know, it was crazy. And that's how we also fed. We would eat to take food home. No, home, did we have a home? We just had a place where we slept anyways. So the entertainment for us was, at the time, was rugged, you know, and we started doing small gigs. So I spent about over a month trying to raise money to send people's children back home. And we eventually did. After 3 weeks, we sent everybody back home. And then about a month plus, I went back home and hid for another 3 months. And because I didn't want parents to come after me. And that was the end of my theater body. Yes, it died a painful death. It was very painful, yeah. And then I ventured into the show business. I started helping stakeholders to build clubs, gardens, and all entertainment outfits, right? Outlets rather. And then guess what? I became a senior advocate of hype men. I was their boss, you know? Started doing hype man job. None of you knew this. Church members, none of you knew this. I was a superior hype man, trust me. And I got popular and became PRO for reputable music businesses. And then I met a couple of these big names, I don't want to mention them now, and they all worked with me and we worked together. And I made a couple of small bucks here and there, and you know, and what else did I do? Okay, so while I went back to school, I studied physics electronics, by the way, and while I was at it, I had an opportunity to also study my dream course, theater arts. So I came out with 2 degrees, physics electronics and also theater arts. And today, if I say so myself, I am a fantastic singer. Duh. Okay, I had a couple of challenges that I never saw coming. I thought that being a minister was a getaway from the hard life. I didn't realize it was actually an enrollment into the toughest of life. It was a setup. Now, this is how I like to put it. Many people say God called them. We look at some people and we say, you called God. I look at myself and I say, God tricked me, put me in a WhatsApp group and made me the admin. Yes, that was what happened. Because I had vowed never to be a pastor. I saw pastoring as the worst thing that could happen to a person, because pastors then, they looked so terrible, they smelled so bad, they had suits that looked like parachutes and shoes that looked like canoes. They fed by the mercy of people who thought that what a waste, take it and die. That was what pastors looked like, you know. And let me give you a fun fact, Johnny, here. Part of the story, right? Back then in primary school, for some weird reason, they always gave me the role of a pastor. I thought maybe they saw the call of God upon my life and they wanted to start, effecting the journey right and all that. I didn't realize that the role of a pastor simply meant that you come from a humble background. That means you are the poor kid in school. Because I wanted to be a king or a rich man in every drama they gave us in school, but for some weird reason, they always gave me the pastor. It was later on I realized it was because I was the poorest kid in school. You know the story, as far as a church rat? Church or rat? Okay, you get it right. So I was called pastor as a child because they thought I wasn't the most privileged child. So yeah, ministry started for me. This is going to be really interesting. Ministry started when I met this fantastic evangelist. I like to withhold this name from security reasons. I met this man. At the time, I was the rave of the moment, being the entertainer in the neighborhood. Everybody knew Simon Priestley as this entertainer guy and all that. And we had this company we started together, and I was the head of the management. And so all the artists and the talents were under my control, no, not control, under my management, under my watch. So this particular guy, who was my best friend in the group, informed me that his cousin just came to town and they needed someone to help them get a space to do church worship. I went to see this guy, boom, first instant, first contact with this guy. He told me the story of my life, told me about my family. I'd never met any of us before. Such depth of prophetic grace. And then while we're at it, he looked at his cousin, who was my artist, and told him, said, in 3 days, the devil is about to kill you. He's going to kill you. But this is what the Lord showed me. You are going to have a near-death experience, but God showed me that you made it out. And that guy just called it bluff. 3 days later, they called us from the office that he had a mad accident, crazy one, ghastly one, that he broke his jaw, broke some ribs, and had this massive cut around his neck. We thought he was dead. And the pastor, we called the evangelist and said, hey, that thing you said came to pass. He just said, relax, he's fine. And miraculously, in a few months, he was fully back and good. So I became drawn to this particular man. And I said, you know what, I'm going to help you get the property you want. Because I was quite famous in the neighborhood and people quite liked me. While I was an entertainer, I don't know why they started hating me when I became a pastor. It's not so nice. I want to cry. Kidding. All right, so I decided to go look for the property, right? And guess what? I saw this fantastic property that I thought was best suited for a church. I hit the gate, I knocked so hard, because I was seeing people move and they were not responding. You know what I decided to do? I decided to jump the fence. And while I did that, I saw a double barrel, big gun. Okay, just calm down. You know, and I went down on my knees and they cocked the gun so badly. I mean, I saw my spirit leaving. He betrayed me. My spirit just left my body, took bike straight to my house to announce that I was dead. You know, so the guy came and he was like, you're dead. You are dead. Who brought you, sent you? Why your team? Who's your gang leader? All kinds of questions that sounded like I was really dead. I was like, okay, you know what, sir? I was sent to get a space for a church. The moment he heard the word church, he withdrew. I said, call the person who sent you. And I called the evangelist. He came, and while the evangelist came, that man is such an amazing man. He looked at the captain. He was a captain, naval captain. Looked at him and told him the story of his life. Even me too, I was proud. Now you can't shoot me again. They've told you the story of your life. Shoot me now, you know. And that was it. He let me go, and for some, amazing reasons, the Lord provided another spot for us, and we started church. So I decided to support him. And at this time, I was already a key leader at one huge church in the neighborhood. I was a renowned leader there, but I decided to stay with him to help him build. The idea was to help him build until he stabilized, and I leave to go do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a pastor. It was the last thing I wanted to do. Up until yesterday, I still didn't want to be a pastor. But today I decided that, I am a pastor for real. Yeah, so, what really happened then was that we started working together. I was doing all the evangelism. So what I did was that I got all my guys that were on my team, were doing music. I brought everybody to start the church with him. So all the people that attended the church came from me as people that have been working with me. So we started the church and it was going so well. And we started doing trainings, leadership and all that, just basic ones. And then one day, pastor didn't show up. And because I was just the closest guy to him, I decided to just give them benediction, tell them, oh, Jesus loves you, because I didn't know scriptures to preach. Jesus loves you. You guys are amazing. Jesus just like you like that. It's your big nose. It's Jesus' nose. It's your big eye. As I was just talking about it, I just felt the need to ask people to come out to pray. And they came out to pray. As I lifted up my hand to pray, and the power of God started moving. A particular lady came forward. I laid my hands on her, and then she screamed, and I screamed. She screamed, ah! And I screamed, ah! I went back, like, ah! Because now it was the first time experiencing that kind of thing. I'd seen my pastor do that, but it was the first time for me. And, long story short, all that happened, and then the devil struck. My pastor was attacked, the church was attacked, scandals here and there, and it was a heavy blow. Then my pastor, for some reasons, couldn't handle the pressure. He just ghosted everybody. Church didn't have a pastor again. At this time, I'd already been ordained minister, right? So I accepted to be ordained because I just wanted to support him, so it was no longer nowhere to be found, and I had to fill in for him temporarily, hoping he would return. He never showed up. So we left the venue where we were, took the church to my mother's compound, where we were just 3.5 membership. 3 people, 1 baby. What do you call that in maths? 3.5. Right? So we started doing church there, and then I decided, this whole story is in the book because I don't want to take much time. I said I was going to close the church, and I told the Lord, if he doesn't show up, I'll just quit this whole thing. And then I just got a job with my pastor, who's currently my pastor now. At that time, I'd also ventured into cinematography. I was doing videos, music videos, and all that. So I got a job to do a broadcast production for Davis Christian Center, my pastor, who's currently my pastor now. And I had a talk with him, and I told him, I said, I don't think I'm called to be a pastor, blah, 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 and I want to shut down this thing. He said, no, take out time to go and pray and ask God if it's something you need to do. So I took out time to pray, and while I was praying, I told the Lord, after my prayer, if he doesn't show up miraculously, if the man of God that I've been working with shows up without even calling or even knowing where we are, I know that you want me to be a pastor. Now, he didn't know where we were. We were at my mother's compound. So the church where he left was a venue far away from that place. For some weird reasons, he showed up at the venue. The same day I asked that if he didn't show up, I was going to shut down the work and prove that God didn't call me. He showed up and smiled and said, great man. First word he said was, great man. Now, because I loved him so much, it was such a joy to see him. I totally forgot I said I was not going to be a pastor anymore. The moment I saw him, the love came so strongly. I embraced him. I screamed, actually, jumped on him, embraced him, and because I missed it. And then he just told me, say, you know what? God has asked me to tell you that the mantle is yours now, and you have the baton to run with his ministry. It was confusing because are you speaking French? Is this English? Are you kidding me? Is this plain? Am I hearing what I'm hearing? Are you saying I'm now a pastor to run a church? I said, as you are going, me too, I'm going. Everybody will just go. That's it. After a while, we're just 3.5 members. So again, I went back to the office and I told my pastor, my boss, and he laughed and said, the ways of God are mysterious. So pray again and ask the Lord to show you. All right. Okay. Long story short, I started doing ministry on the premise of the evangelist ministry, and I decided to do his ministry basically, and we started growing. How did we start to grow? I launched out with my outreach. It was I wouldn't say a seminar at the time, it was just a hangout. We did that I think twice every month. We had people come dance, sing, more like a talent show, and then I'll give some motivational speaking around relationship, business, career. We called it Scholars Forum, like I said. And that began to bring people from everywhere. And at some point, I introduced myself as a pastor, and we started having people come to church from that. But we were still at my mom's place, and at that point, we outgrew that environment, right? So now what happened was that we met this school, went to pray for the family. They just lost somebody, and the power of God broke out, and they saw the move of God so strong and asked where our church was. I told them we don't have a facility now yet, rather, but we need a space, and they gave us a classroom that was huge, and we started church at that classroom. Fast forward, I realized that I had a vision, a revelation actually, and the revelation showed that I was walking on another man's land or property or stuff, and God was calling me out of it. And I don't go into all the stories there, get the book and hear the stories because it's quite controversial, right? So I went to the man of God and I told him that this is what the Lord's asking me to do. And he gave his blessings and all that. And he had said, I went to him on a Thursday and he had said on Sunday was coming to do like a proper send forth or send off. And I was expecting to come on the end of the month, not the Sunday, end of the month. So we saw on Thursday, he was supposed to come end of the month. And he came this Sunday of the same week, unannounced. He just walked straight to the pulpit and said, "We're back." Took the mic off my hand. Very, very, okay, let's not go into all of that. You get the detail in the book. And while I was, like my custom, whenever he was around, I always stood in front of the church to act as a protocol for him. So while he took the mic, I stood in front, waited for the service to finish. He called me up to try and bless me. As he took the oil to pour on me, the oil dropped from his hand and it broke. He looked at me, looked at the oil, took a deep breath. So you're released. So he didn't actually pour the oil on me. And there was an uproar because the church he came to didn't know him. Nobody knew him, right? So I did a proper, handover and knelt for him to now pray for me. He just did it in a very funny way. And I left. And then rumor went out there in town that I was a rebel. I stole a church. I robbed the man of God, blah, blah, blah. And it was so bad that at the time I even got a job to do for a church. And the pastor didn't know that I was the one. So when I came, he looked at me and said, "No, be this boy with thief church for pastor. Come on, get out of my office." I was embarrassed. And everybody in that church started raining insults and all that. I walked home really heartbroken. Get the rest of the story in my book, please, so I can talk about other interesting things because I'm beginning to feel very emotional. I don't want to do that right now. Okay, so yeah, fast forward, I started doing what God asked me to do, and we started our church. It was called Champions Christian Center at the time. And upon registration, we realized that the name had been taken, so we registered the Reinvention House Ministries Global, and that's where we are right now. Thank you. Not going to a Bible school when I was supposed to go to a Bible school. I didn't go to a Bible school. I wanted to go to a Bible school. I didn't have money and I didn't know how to go about it. I tried. Maybe I didn't have enough faith at the time because I probably would have just stepped out there and, find out that God wants me to, or somebody's waiting for me to pay my tuition fee. I didn't have the money and I wanted to go to Wolfby at the time. So because I was very frustrated, one morning the Lord just said, "What do you have in your house?" I was wondering, "I have my bed and my," and he said, "No, what you have in your house as your tool." And it dawned on me it was my Bible. It's okay, so you wanted to go to a Bible school, right? So yes, now you have a Bible in your hand. So I'm going to school you. And that was the first time I read the Bible for 18 hours. And I never remained the same. And I teach the word so good now by the grace of God. Okay, very amazing one. I'm sure you're going to laugh. I was in the house having a chit chat with my new convert who later became my associate pastor. And I heard this loud scream. My mother doesn't shout because I was in my mother's house. I'd gone to spend some time with them. And I heard her scream so loud. And then we rushed out. We met this young man, 34 years old at the time. He had collapsed on the ground, fuming in the mouth. He had foam in the mouth. His eyes are turned white. So I think is that what they call epilepsy? He was convulsing. And then we started praying. First call, of course, I started praying. And guess what? I just had boxers, no shirt, because it was an emergency. I rushed out. And we started praying and praying and praying and praying and praying. And the neighborhood where that happened, where my mother has her apartment, it's that kind of community where if anything goes off, the crowd gathers, right? And I opened my eyes and the crowd was huge around the building, around the compound, looking at this frustrated young pastor. Don't forget, they had known me in that environment as an entertainer. And it was a bad news that this boy do entertainment, don't turn pastor. Now, wow. So now I was beginning to make a fool of myself, trying to raise the dead. So I kept praying and eventually I realized the guy had died. And my prayer switched. Lord, open the ground. Let me enter from there, maybe just die along. Because this crowd, I know these people in this neighborhood, I know them. If nothing happens as I come out of this compound today, they will finish me. And that was me talking and complaining and telling God, I'm dead. If this guy doesn't get up, I'm dead. And I heard slapping. I heard slapping. And in my heart, Slap him? Is that it? What would they say? Slapping someone that is already dead? Is that how frustrated you are? I said, well, he's already dead. So if I slap him, they will say I'm the one that killed him. He died before I slapped him. And ladies and gentlemen, I gave him the dirtiest slap on the face of the earth. He jumped up, went forward and collapsed. I didn't wait to check if he was alive. I ran straight into my house because at least at this point, everybody has seen that he had gotten up. He didn't die again, or at least when I left, he got up. So even if he didn't leave afterwards, but he got up. So I went, locked the door, didn't come out till evening when it was dark. So when I came out, I was hoping to see that nonsense boy that tried to, I was hoping to get that. And I started getting this heroic welcome. Like, man of God, the people that don't call me man of God for, like, man of God, good evening, no, man of God, man of God. So I came out like this James Bond kind of thing, right? And then just looking ahead, I saw the young man talking to a couple of people. He was alive. For real, he was alive. I just walked past him, feeling so good that, wow, did I just raise the dead? 3 weeks later, a small boy, 9 years old, had the same issue. They called, guess who they called on? The hero, the superhero. They called me. And I was feeling so fly, like, this is piece of cake. I got a few team together, like, let's go. We got into the community like the Avengers. You need to see the way we entered. And people were clearing road, give way. Here comes Jesus. I entered into the building. I saw the boy converse. I told everybody, relax. This won't take so long. It's the audacity from you. This won't take so long. And we started praying. The more we prayed, the more he died. The more we prayed, the more he died. So, but it felt familiar because that was exactly the same thing that happened with this. So I didn't panic. But the people in the house were panicking. They freaked out. So I had to excuse them from the living room, and they left. Guess what? An idea dropped. I didn't say the Holy Spirit spoke. The last time I said I heard a voice. I thought I heard the voice, but now looking back, I knew it was an idea. Take off your shirt, Simon. It's a mantle. Wrap this boy. Your anointing will flood him. Then he will just come back to life. As I wrapped him, he stretched and died. I was waiting to see in fact, the people that were around me that were praying before, they opened their eyes. I didn't hear prayer again. What I heard is, Baba, I don't die. Baba, I don't die. Now, this is the interesting part. I couldn't take my shirt again. And I had just one loose singlet. Those loose singlets somewhere. They buried that boy with my shirt. The people who invited me, who vouched for me, were disappointed. The family were disappointed. The people who came with me were heartbroken. Me, I was also disappointed. So as I was going home, I was kicking stones and thinking about the future of my ministry. Trust me, I'd contemplated, I'd said to myself, as I get home, I quit ministry. But suddenly the Lord began to speak to me and to teach me that, listen, unless the Lord builds a house, they labor in vain that builds it. That was all me. That was none of him. I learned a very powerful lesson, and thereafter we went on to start doing mad miracles. All right. Another highlight, of course, I didn't want to talk about this, was when I lost my brother, right? Now this one is very, 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 very. This one hits me in different ways that I can't explain, but I'm going to try and say it, right? He was everything to me. He was the first human being I ever loved. I grew up loving him. We grew up together. I don't tell you all the stories. Read it from my book, right? So he had cancer, and he believed that I was the greatest prophet ever that lived. He believed so much in my grace. So I found that I had cancer much later than I would have found out. And I was hospitalized, and he had turned to a vegetable when I saw him. I couldn't help it. While I was crying profusely in the hospital, because I couldn't even pray, I was crying profusely in the hospital. He held my hand and still said, Baba, you're anointed. I know. Don't feel bad. That broke me. That really broke me. Because I was helpless. I was powerless. I thought God had left me because my prayers weren't coming to pass. And at the time, I was equally very sick. You know, long story short, because I don't want to get emotional here, he died and I lost my faith. And this is the first time a lot of people are hearing this. I lost my faith. I was only just doing church because I had an obligation to do church, but I lost my faith completely and everything went bad. And this was 2019. It lasted for 1 year, you know. And when the doctor also discovered that I had health complications that were really bad, my friend who was overseeing my medical history said, Pastor, at this point, we need you to use your faith. And I said to him, and all this while I've been going through all this and he didn't tell me that it was about my faith. I took the next 6 months devouring scriptures, you know, confessing them, doing prayer walks every day for hours. And suddenly I didn't find those things again. Now that same year, I lost 3 other important people in church. Like I said, hell broke loose over me, you know, and that's when I started doing intentional, you know, intimacy with God, fasting, praying, studying. Yes, I used to fast a lot and pray, but this time it became even more intentional and intense. And the result of that was that I entered into something new, massive, dangerous miracles. Hands grew, legs grew out, more dead came back to life. All kinds of miracles started happening that blew my mind. I was even blown away. I felt that was God's way of compensating for my loss, you know. And then one of the situations that happened was that somebody suddenly reached out to me and said, Pastor, my brother is dying of cancer. And my anger rose so bad because cancer had become my worst enemy. It killed my brother. And while they mentioned, I took the report and I roared. I didn't even pray, I roared because I was angry. And I said, go back. He's healed. And those of you who know about that, they testified in church that miraculously, they couldn't find a trace of a stage 4 cancer. Yeah. So that highlight was that I lost a brother, I gained an anointing, and I'm grateful to God. What inspired me to become a relationship coach? Okay, I think my family background, because I didn't mention that my house was very toxic. I saw the worst kind of marriage experience in my family. My dad was a bully, and yes, he was a bully, and I saw my mom go through a lot in that house, and I don't want to give the details here. It's part of my book. Get the copy of that book so you can hear a lot of those there. Okay, so I left. Majorly, the reason why I left the house was because, you know, I couldn't watch the way my mom was suffering emotionally, and coupled with the fact that it was just toxic to live in that house. Okay, so when I left the house, I was passionate about helping people find peace in their relationship. I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't even know where to start from, but I just had the yearning, the desire to help people do well in marriage and relationship. Of course, being the novice that I was just looking for ways to help people. Fun fact again, I started realizing that people were coming to me for marital advice from the age of 15. 15, yes. I had 2 families that I was, you know, talking to every now and again on how to deal with the issues in their house. And it was crazy. In fact, my first relationship was born out of that experience. You know, the person I dated first came out of that experience because the family was part of the family I was talking to at the time, right? Now, so I think I'm mixing it up, but I'll get it right. I started doing youth and sex in school and trying to teach on morality in primary school, in secondary schools rather. And, you know, this was before I met my mentor, right? Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo, before I met him. And I was doing youth talk, morality, sex and stuff. I was just doing all those because I didn't even know where to start from, but I had a burning passion to help marriages and families do well. Okay, fast forward. I mentioned the fact that I started something before I started my church, which was Scholars Forum. After a while, Scholars Forum moved from the bi-monthly to monthly. And when we started doing monthly, when I started focusing on relationship talk, because at this time I'd met Pastor Kingsley and he started to mentor me. I started to read his books, and because I was his producer, I was at virtually all his relationship seminars. And when everybody finishes the meeting, I go back to the studio, I listen to them over and over and over again, taking notes and all of those things. So it helped me to really, lay hold on the concept or the knowledge of, dealing with relationship problems. And I took a couple of courses with him too, and he certified me, and he said, yeah, I'm a certified relationship coach, right? So, but Scholars Forum later evolved to what we now have as Love Diary Network, where we now take relationship issues very seriously. We started doing what is called Reconcile and Reunite. We go from city to city looking for broken homes. In fact, they write to us and tell us, oh, my husband left the house, my wife left the house, and we take details of the partner and we start looking for them. And this would have us travel all around Nigeria looking for people whose homes were broken, that we got the brief. And we reconciled a lot of homes. And the first home that was reconciled was mine, because mine was very dysfunctional. Everybody grew up to hate my dad and all that. So I brought everyone together at our life event, and we reconciled everybody. And every reconciliation we did, we brought them on the show to show the audience that, hey, we're reconciling these people today. And we did a lot of reconciliations. And it grew so big. And now we have Love Diary Network that is organizing conferences and seminars all around Nigeria and hopefully around the world. And truthfully, I believe it has been helping homes because the demand is high. And we're also doing podcasts now and some other new things. And we believe that in a couple of years, not far from now, we'll be able to dominate the airspace with our content and what we're set to bring. Look out for that too. It's going to blow you. And by the way, we're starting with something that's going to shock you. I won't say that. It's just going to shock you. All right? Look out for that. Yeah, Love Diary Network, like I said, started from Scholars Forum. It evolved from Scholars Forum, which was a hangout for people who come to sing, dance, and stuff. We just do pep talk for them or encouraging or motivational speech for them. And when it went from bi-monthly to monthly, we had started doing Now Relationship, but it was still Scholars Forum at the time. And then we grew much bigger, and we started doing outreaches out of our comfortable space all around town. And that time we called it Love Diary Network for reasons that are peculiar to us as a church, me as an individual, and to the people that I'm called to reach. We're trying our best possible to retell love stories that don't hurt. Okay, I want to go around the world with it. I want to organize seminars, conferences all around the world. And that's why it's called a network, where in different parts of the world, you have Love Diary as a network there. We want to be able to do free outreaches like free medical services, free therapy for people. Yeah, because that's like my passion. Therapy is like my biggest passion in this business that I do. I want to be able to help a lot of people who are going through mental health crisis because of their emotional stress and all that, contribute to it. We want to be able to support more families, help children get better education, and just help marriages do better. That's the whole idea. Yeah, you talking about the podcast. It's something that we want to use to, shut down the airspace. Trust me. What you're about to see from Love Diary podcast is going to shock the government. To shock the government. So how's life been as a single pastor? Yeah, I'm trying not to avoid that question because it's obvious I'm single. Yeah, it's been, for me, it's been a stretch because every now and again I am reminded that I have a need that I have not actually satisfied, and by the grace of God, that will be finally put to rest. So I don't want to tell you all the dramas that comes with being single and of course handsome, so all those bad belly people are saying, what makes you think you're handsome? I know, I am fine. Go and sit down, but of course, I'm not trying to pepper them, even though I'm doing that right now, but it's okay. I'm single currently, but I will be married shortly by the grace of God. It won't be long before I do another video to tell you that now I'm married with my kids. All right, guys. So thank you. what inspired me to venture into business coaching? Hunger. Yes. Hunger in the sense that, of course, like I said, I come from a very unique home. We're poor. Poor people look at us and they feel encouraged. We're very poor. And I wanted to survive. I started realizing that I had the talent to, mobilize people to join me and get a life. That's how Scholars From started, by the way, and we started realizing that a lot of people were doing great, doing well, started succeeding from the teachings that we're doing, the small talks. People started taking huge steps to do business and, undertake business deals. And I thought to myself, why don't you start to train people professionally? So I went and I started taking courses on, business coaching and all of those things. I took loads of business courses just because I want to be able to train other people. I mean, many fields, you have no idea the things I went to learn just to be able to empower people to do well in business. I learned real estate and everything you can think of. I had to take courses in them just to be able to empower other people to do well. And today we can say we've raised several millionaires in and out of Nigeria who own their own company and they're employing other people. Yeah, thank God for coaching business. Okay, so my organization, Simon Priestley Company, is actually the one who powers the business coaching thing. And we're intentional about what we do. We have an academy and we are trying to restructure it so it can take in new curriculum, things that are prevalent in the economy today. So we're doing loads of research to see that all that's in place. Now we'll be floating it back again shortly, but our master classes are holding. We have classroom meetings for business executives. I'm planning on doing something in June. I don't know when you'll be watching this, and June of 2026. I'll be doing something in Marriott with very intentional business people. And I'm bringing my mentor and also my friend, Dr. Lakuni Sorion, to do that with me. And it's going to be an explosive time. I've had trainings in the hotel for executives and other top brands. I've been trained for multinationals and I do their, marketing, sales, and all those branding things. My expertise originally was brand management and strategy. I used to do that for companies, help people break the market and, create brand awareness just to build what I like to say, brand power. I help people do that. And today I've ventured into a couple of other things because I want to teach more on other subjects. So yes, Simon Priestley Company is doing that right now, empowering businesses, consulting for businesses, for startups, for medium SMEs, and for large scales. We have different portfolios of trainings that we do for them. So yeah, big pictures ahead of us is to have an institution for business coaching and business training. Yeah, thank you. Okay, what does success mean to me right now? Success right now means helping other people succeed. I find this joy, greater joy, in knowing that the people that have passed through me are successful. I think I see that as more success than me having money in my bank account. Basically, I feel a huge sense of fulfillment knowing that people who have passed through me are successful. That's what success is for me. Now thinking about that, what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? I want to be able to impact my generation so much so that it's not just what they felt, what they got, or what they did after, or who they became. As the guy who defied every odd, to put his name out there and the world can talk about him. Okay, so someone once asked me, what would 40 feel like, or what does 40 feel like? I haven't been 40 before, so it's my first time to be 40. So I feel a certain level of fulfillment, and I like to say the journey so far has been quite reinventing for me. I have been different persons at different phases of my life, and doing this broadcast or this documentary right now is part of fulfilling purpose for me. And I like to say, I couldn't say a lot here because first it's going to stretch the tape and the time we're going to spend watching this. So I put all the details in my new book called My Side of the Story. You want to get that book. It's a limited edition book, I think just for 100 people. There's a pre-order, and you can make your own pre-order now with the numbers on your screen, so you get to ask to get a copy before it even arrives. Okay, so, and I have other books that I have put out there to support your faith, your family journey, and hopefully release more book on finances to help you boost your financial goals and help you achieve your financial dreams. So yeah, get my books. I have books on relationships. I have books on faith. My favorite book is my faith book, by the way, which is called what's called now Just Believe. It's a recent book I just put out there. I want you to grab a copy. I also have one for our mental health. So you find that, what we call overheating that goes on in our head from time to time, maybe because of work stress, family stress, and what have you. I put that book together to help you manage the stress that all of these things put on your mind. Okay, so you want to grab a copy of that book. I also have one that's quite controversial that people usually come at me for because it tends to speak of my current status as a single man. I won't be single after this conversation, trust me. Everything is working out. I sense it in my spirit. Mahanda Bahai. Power. All right, so okay, so far this has been fun. It's been an amazing time sharing. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I've been through a lot though. Anyways, if you don't think I've been through a lot, get my book once again. Get that book, My Side of the Story. There's so much I said there that I've never been said before. So don't miss an opportunity to get that book, okay? I have other books, like I said. I have What's Wrong with Being Single. It's an amazing book to help single people prepare for a big task called marriage. Because marriage is not fun fair, it's work fair. So you get yourself ready for all of that. And that's what I've been doing the past 40 years, getting myself ready to have the marriage of my dream. And I encourage you to do the same. My name is Simon Priestley Adeola. I'm your exceptional relationship enrichment coach and therapist, and then your pastor and business coach. God bless you. Thank you for staying tuned. And hey, happy 40th birthday to me. And thank you for all the gifts, wishes, and of course, prayers. Until I come your way again, God bless you. Keep winning. Shalom.